What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Aligning the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we are back with this week's episode of Building the Millennium Falcon. I'm pretty excited about this one, actually. It's kind of taken me back. I just opened the paint thinner just to make sure everything was all ready to go, and that smell, wow, paint thinner is a smell. And it's a smell that I haven't smelled in a long time. Really brought me back to being a kid. We're going to be doing some paint work today. We're going to be doing some work on building the crew area of the Falcon with a part where we actually get to look in and pull off the top hull section. So, pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited about this one. So we're going to be doing some paint work today, and I haven't painted a model in a long time. I don't know how this is going to turn out. There are some painting sections in the cockpit. Maybe I jumped ahead a little far by gluing. There a little bit of paint work. I may try to do that maybe off camera because it's going to be really fine detail work now that everything is glued in place. But for everything else here, I guess it's just going to be the practice for going forward. And if we make little oopsie daisies, well, we make little oopsie daisies. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into opening up the package for Stage 8. It is fairly straightforward. These are really just a bunch of sprues and little pieces and parts. We are going to be putting together the beginnings of the crew area on the whole here. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be like this, all of these parts. Like, one thing I noticed with this model is that the parts are kind of like spread out. You got to hold on to things. You got to make sure you're keeping close track of where everything's at. I've been looking into some storage options, and there are definitely some things out there that are going to be helpful for this. But I can't imagine anything other than a big storage tote in my closet until everything is done. I am going to display the cockpit when everything is done on that one here in the coming up stages. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and pull out these sprues. On this sprue, the stuff here in the middle, with the exception of these three pieces right here, right down there, the only things we're going to be using are going to be the seat backs and seat cushions here, and then we're going to be using these three little pieces once for the technical station. Otherwise, we're going to be holding off to the rest of that sprue. Kind of like with this one here, what's kind of cool is it has a little printing on there. It says issue 8. Pretty cool. I guess probably put it in the right direction there for you. It does say issue 8 on there, which is pretty cool. On this one, we're only going to be using this piece here, and then we're going to be holding off and using the rest of them later on. I did read through this instructions pretty clearly, more than a few times, just trying to get an understanding of what I'm going to be doing. I've had to go out and buy paint and brushes and thinner and all of this, so I've read through this magazine many times. You might be familiar with this piece. This is going to be one of the entryways into the crew hold area. This is going to be for, I believe, it's going to be either stage 9 or 10. I'm not quite sure. It could even be 11, but it is somewhere within the next month or so we'll be putting this together. So I'm going to set this off to the side. The majority of the work we're going to be doing here at the beginning of this build is going to be on this, which is the technical station. You see Han sitting at it when Obi-Wan is training Luke at the beginning of A New Hope, kind of like maybe at the third of the way through the movie point. We're going to be doing some paint work, some light brushing. We're going to try to bring out the highlights on the top there. I hope I get this right. And then this last piece here, I imagine is just a whole piece for later on, or not a whole piece, but a wall piece for the internals of the Falcon. So, well, without further ado, we're going to get into the thing that I'm looking forward to doing the most, which is doing some painting. And so we will be right back. Oh, the smell of model paint. As I was just getting ready for it, I poured out a little bit of paint here, and man, it's pretty cool. I used to do a lot of model building when I was a kid. This is why I've been doing this, and just opening up the Testors Paint, buying Testors Paint was pretty cool. Just all of it. I'm really I'm being brought back this morning as I'm building this, and it's been like worth getting all of this set up because there's been a lot of work this morning getting this going. I'm glad that I've decided to switch over to doing just one model per week. So, or one stage per week per model. So, this is a lot of work. So, for this one, it does call to kind of paint it on the sprue. One of the things I do remember was that I'm going to clip it off most of the sprue here, and then I'm going to properly trim this piece right here, right at the point where it's supposed to be trimmed, and then I'm going to leave that there. So I actually have my trusty little helping hands, something that I remember from when I was a kid, and these things are incredibly useful for model building. So what I'm going to do is angle it towards you and towards me. It's where I can see it, and actually got a little bit of paint on my fingers, which is pretty awesome. Pretty excited about that. And for this technique, what we're going to be doing is called dry brushing. And what we do is we load up the paint brush with some paint. Okay. And then what we're going to do is on the piece of paper towel here is I'm going to actually get rid of most of this. And I'm using a nice light gray. And I'm going to get rid of most of this paint. I really want to get rid of a lot of it so that what we can do is just come along here. Just lightly come along the tops. It's working pretty well. So we're not getting into the grooves, but we're coming along the tops and hitting the highlights. It's turning out pretty good. I could have gone with a brighter paint, and maybe I should have. But I think that this is going to be just fine. A lot of the paint and stuff, like I reference it in the finale video for the Venator. I went to a hobby shop and I was like, oh my god, there's so much here. And the amount of paint and supplies and things that you can use for making these models is insane. So maybe I should have gone with a brighter color paint here, but the beauty of painting these models is that it's all perfectly customizable. It's all up to you. Okay. So, not the best work in the world, but it is painted. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of white. Yeah. I need to get one of the things I realized that I probably should have grabbed while I was at the model shop, where I'm just realizing it right now. I should have grabbed a paint palette tray. So, but whatever. It's all good. For that, however, I think I'm going to for later on in the stage, or for later on in this build, I have this bowl. Take a little bit of paint, just like that, just a tiny bit, and hold this off to the side. Probably going to repaint that because it is a little light, and it is now just not wanting to cooperate. One thing I learned when I was a kid: do not let paint get in here. you will never open that again. That's just the way that works. So now, carefully edit this out. Okay, so I went ahead and lightened down the paint there, and in the process of doing it, I realized my cardinal sin. What I said just right before the cut: don't put paint in the lid. And what did I do? I put paint in the lid of the previous one. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, Jordan, look at you, rookie mistakes. And once again, the beauty of all of this is that, you know, we get to learn and we get to do. And yeah, that's a little bit better. A little thin. I might need to blot a little bit more off there. Yeah, it's really, really fine work. Ooh. It really does mean get most of that paint off. Crazy. Yeah, we're learning, you know, and that's the thing. It's not going to be perfect. I will go through and clean up some thinner. Wow. Really doesn't take much of this. Yeah. Glad I get the chance to practice, but let me tell you, I'm not proud of this work at all. I'm going to angle it a little bit more towards me. I think I need to get some different brushes for sure. Angling it towards me definitely does help. Yeah, I think I need to get some different brushes for this. I know the brush type that I need to get. But once again, we're learning. Careful touch helps. Propping up my hand with the other hand, if you can see that. Better over here. And that's the thing, I may not clean that up. And the reason for that is, you know, part of building these models is watching skill develop over time. You know, like, it's kind of shown my girlfriend some of the videos that I've created, and you know, she's not a sci-fi fan, so she's not you know, she supports me 100%, but you know, she hadn't really seen anything that I had done, and she, you know, wanted to see it, and yeah, it's just like the skill with building the YouTube videos. I feel like I've gotten a lot better over time, and I like seeing that. I like seeing progress. One of the things I do in my job is I train people, and I really enjoy watching people learn things, learn how to do things, and skills develop. And, you know, in this case, you know, I'm learning how to have a steadier hand painting. Trying to load up a little more paint, but you gotta make sure to dry it off. Well, dry brushing after all. I only using very slight touches. But yeah, it's I really enjoy watching progress. People learn how to do things. I really enjoy that. Yeah, I'm not happy with the work I did over there, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Right here is a little messy. That's fine. Oh, it's a little bit messy, and that's fine. I'll look in this model someday in years and be able to kind of go, oh yeah, a little new at doing some of this painting. Yeah, it's a little bit better over on the other side. Yeah, definitely a little new at doing this painting here. In this part, you know, you specifically have to paint. It's like with a brush. Can't really bust out the airbrush for it. And I haven't been doing enough practicing with that yet. I gotta be real. It's a little daunting. I'm gonna fill this in just for the sake of making it look better. There we go. Okay. Let's see if we can get a little bit more in here. And then right here, this little piece is a light fixture piece that goes right underneath the bunk. Now, what I was calling the seat backs last episode is incorrect. These are bunks. Yeah, I need to get some smaller brushes for sure. See if I can fix some of my derps from earlier. Just by filling in a little bit more detail. Yeah, I imagine I'll be looking back on this in a few years going, wow, what you did right there, dude. But it's okay. Okay, so before I paint this one and change colors, that's one thing that I definitely don't want to keep doing is changing colors and what have you. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to our first piece here. Add just a little bit of a lighter color. Consistency's sake. Yeah, it just lightened it up just a little bit. Yeah, after doing this for the first time, like once again, we're learning how to do things. Just after doing these first couple sections here, like I'm like, yeah, I need some better paint. So, all right, so we're gonna remove our helping hand here. He will be back. Load up a little bit more paint. What I find is like loading up paint, load it up kind of heavy, and then kind of roll it off. We're gonna go across the top here. Even on the pictures of the model itself, on the description, or not in the description, but in the instructions, the paint here is a little jank. So I'm not feeling so bad about it. I was just looking at that in between. Yeah, we're just barely going over the top here. Just bringing out the highlights. Okay, that looks better. A little bit up top here, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, So now we will be back with painting some white. Okay, we're back. And now I'm going to do some paint where I'm not trying to be as precise. I'm wondering. Oh, yeah, that takes this way. Seems a little thin. May need to shake these up a little bit better. They were definitely settled on there for sure. I had to shake, Sonora. And we're not going to paint the bottoms because that's just where it's going to connect on. But we are going to make sure we complete this. And these are little lights that go just underneath the bunk. Then it'll affix right here. Make sure I got all the little pieces here. I'm getting on the middle. If we get some of the sprues, it's totally fine. I'm gonna let this dry for a little while. I may add a second coat off camera. There we go. And I think that's the only white pieces that we have to paint. And I think for that, we move on to our black paint and the floor piece. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and I'm going to see how this works. This process is going to ask for us to thin down some black paint and then kind of get it into the grooves here, and then quickly come back with a paper towel and dry it off so that it only leaves kind of like a dark impression behind. I'm going to experiment over in this corner and see how it turns out. Now, one thing I haven't done is thinned out paint in a little while, so I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to turn out. I am definitely recognizing that I need to get more than a few things here. I need to get cleaning bottles and all sorts of like mixing trays, and I'm just not quite prepared, and that was probably way too much black paint. But, you know, it is what it is. I need droppers, and I was so overwhelmed at the model store the other day. It was kind of crazy. I gotta be real. There was just like, oh my god, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. I'm like, I'm looking at the cost going, oh my god, you need this, and you need that, and you need this and that. So what do we need for this next stage? And that was what was going on through my mind. And yeah, I'm realizing that I'm woefully unprepared for this week. So, but it is what it is. I'm going to try putting a little bit in here. Ugh. I'm just dropping it. Okay. See how that does for some thinning. I'm going to take my brush. Oh, yeah. No, that's good. Now we'll see. I'm kind of curious to see how this process works. I've seen it in practice done, but I wonder how thin is that? I may want it a little thinner than that. I just want it to be able to, yeah, I need droppers. Well, that may be too thin now. Definitely need droppers, my god. This is crazy. Yeah. So, but, well, hold on. I want it to be really thin. I want this to be so thin that it basically, yeah, that looks good. Yeah. Really light stuff there. Okay. I need smaller brushes for sure. Unload the brush. so we can reload the brush. Let's see how this does. Take this. Wonder. We'll let it sit in there for a second. Let's see what happens. That's interesting. Cool concept. Yeah, that works. We're experimenting. We're trying things. Kind of like this better. In theory, if I need more spreading, I just add a little bit more paint. Like that. Yeah, I think that might be the approach that I'm going to take here. Really seems to work. It's also satisfying. Now, on some of these longer sections, I can definitely go in and brush work. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. Definitely too much right there. Yeah, I think that's going to be the approach I'm going to take for this. Pretty cool. All right, well, I'll be back. All right, my friends, we're back. Went ahead and let the paint dry on everything, and I'll go ahead and move this out of the way real quick. Wound up finding a technique that worked to get the paint into here. Basically, just kind of dropping it, just touching a point and letting it spread. You saw it at the end of that before I cut to edit. And, in the wiping process, it wound up kind of creating a bit of a dirty floor effect. And I was actually pretty pleased with it. I do see this right here. It is driving me nuts. Next time I make a paint wash, I will go ahead and touch that up again. But yeah, pretty pleased with the results on this piece. The paint on this piece was okay. It wound up turning, okay. Like it brought a little bit of the detail out. I need to get some better brushes. And here on the control console, it's okay. It's all right. Not really proud of the work done here, but once again, like I was saying, while we were doing the build, it's one of those things where I'm actually looking forward to seeing the progress and my skill developing and all of that as I'm going along. So, with all that said, let's just go ahead and move into actually building this stage, shall we? The building of it is not going to be too crazy, but got my super glue ready here. I hate super glue, as most people do. I hate it. It gets places. It's everywhere. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking, super glue is like right there. It's done. It's in there. We're going to be taking this little piece here, okay, and we're going to be putting it right there. But before we do so, however, I'll take a little bit of glue, get it into these spots. Just make sure I'm getting enough. And then I'll put a little bit on the back here for posterity's sake. Okay. So, set that off to the side where it's not going to dry onto the paper. So now, we'll grab our part, and it is going to go right into place. Right there. Nice, right into place. Very nice. Okay, so now there are these little tiny little pieces that I did all my prep work before getting into this. There was a lot of prep work that needed to be done. So there are these tiny little pieces that I clipped off of the sprues. And what I'm going to do is start with these two little holes here. So glue's in there. Very nice. Carefully set my toothpick off to the side here. Then the pieces themselves, and they are tiny. So I'm hoping that it kind of comes across, but that is how small these little pieces are. Drop that. Nope, that's not the right side. I think the glue is dried up. Thought I was ready. We're going to do one at a time here. So there we are. That's going to go straight in. Well, we'll see. We'll see how the next one does. Some of this isn't like these tiny little sprue pieces. I apparently need to get better at using them. This one seems like it's much more straightforward. I'll make sure I got what it's supposed to go into. Down. There it is. Yeah, doesn't look like they're in there very well, but it is what it is. I'm totally fine with that. And then there's this tiny little piece here that's got a red dot on the one side. One of the things I might do is I get some I say that, don't do some precision painting. Yeah, Jordan, you're not doing precision painting until you're better at this months later. So this one, a little red dot on it. What I was saying is, like, maybe I can start putting some controls on, like paint on some colors of these, but that might just be enough. So the technical panel is done. Yeah, kind of janktastic, but as is with this model, you know, janktastic is the way we go. So this is done for now. We're gonna do that. We're gonna attach it to the floor at a later stage. I'm gonna go ahead and move my helping hands out of the way here now. We are going to, so now we're going to take our chair section here, and what we're going to do is create the bunk. So, got our two pieces here, and this one here, and this one is going to fit into place just like that. Slot right in. Yeah, I was calling these seat backs, but this is actually the little bunk that goes on into place here. And then we're going to take this one and put it into place right here. All right. Now, we're going to add some super glue here. All 8, I guess so to say, our connection points. I learned a little trick where keep the magazine off of the table here. I've changed my desk a little bit. I've changed some monitor arms and given myself a little bit more space to work. So, but what I've done is I've taken photos of the magazines and put them into place or on the screen, and so I don't have to worry about having the magazine on the table anymore, which is nice. And then these clips. Oh, how interesting. Yeah, I had that wrong. There we go. So I had the bunk inside incorrectly put on, but now that's all done. So now it is saying for us to take our little piece here that we painted white, and it's the little lights. Okay, gonna do. Got it properly positioned right there. Take some glue, probably a little bit of it here. Put them into each one of these spots. Glue all the way in there. And I'm gonna take that, set it right into place just like so. So there's that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This is pretty exciting. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our trusty screwdriver here, and we're going to temporarily affix this to the deck plate here and get it. It says temporarily. I'm not sure why. But then again, I need to stop jumping ahead and pay attention. So, use 2 of the screws. So we have 1 screw hole there, and 1 screw hole there. So we have here and here. So it is saying to take our screws. These are the first time we are seeing the copper interior screws. It's pretty cool. We're going to put that through first. Instead of trying to line it up all crazy like, which I wound up doing. Okay, there we are. Now, first time we're seeing these screws. It says temporarily by using 2. I see why. There's going to be more. I imagine that we're going to have to separate this piece again before we affix it into place permanently. And right there. Got 1 more of these. There's a bunch more for that, but put it in our screw case. And that screw hole right here. I may have lined up already. Slightly off camera there. Hold on. I may go look for a screwdriver that more appropriate for this model. There we go. Probably a little bit smaller on the Phillips head. One I got with a hobby kit are just a little too small. Okay, so now we have our bunk area for the most part kind of put together. And what we're going to do is take our seat base and click it here into place. Very nice. And what we have here are the seat backs. And so what we're going to be doing today for the final little bits of this stage is we are going to be taking the seat backs and getting them put into place. So, pretty simple. It alternates between one big one and one small one. And in order to do this, we're going to be using a lot of super glue. My favorite. I did some of these stages are like pre-test. Make sure that you have enough of, like everything works, go through and test fit and all of those things. For the sake of, this is looking like a bit of a long video today with the painting. The good chance that, going forward, I'm going to pre-cut everything off with the sprues. That way we're not taking too much time with the mundane, tedious work here. So that's a little bit much. So let's be careful not to get it on the seat back, and I understand why now. It doesn't want us to do. We're going to do 3 at a time. It doesn't want us to get anything stuck to the back, because it's likely we're going to be taking that off. We're going to be leaving the seat cushions in place. So we're going to start with one here. And then one there. There's not any particular pattern for this. They all fit into place. Well, some fit better than some than others, but we're good to go there. Did experiment with trying different patterns to get these put in, and there was no real good way of doing it. So now, put up our next 3. It's interesting when on the sprues. It's already pre-painted and it was really messily done, and I'm curious to see how they approached it. If they had done perhaps super glue is on my fingers. It's on my fingernail. If they had if it was done by machine or if it was done by hand. Curious about that, actually. I have reached out to Fanhome to see. I don't know if the tweezers are always super necessary. To see if I can get an interview and talk to them about these models. They're just simply overwhelmed right now, and so I'm not surprised that I haven't heard back from them on that. I just emailed them about it. I was kind of prepping for this episode this week. I was thinking about some of the build and some of the things that I've seen so far and questions that I have about it, and I like to pick someone's thoughts. If get to Kansas City and check out the facility. That would also be super cool. Update on the frame section for the broken frame section we have for this. Thankfully, none of the stages that we have. I mentioned in the unboxing video that I was a little worried about whether or not the frame sections that came in this section or in this package in this shipment or whatever, if it was going to be needed to connect to stage 4, and it was not, thankfully. The frame sections we have were actually just given to us for later use, so to say. But the frame section, the stage 4 replacement, they're out of stock with it right now, which is curious. But yeah, so that's kind of the update on that. I'm gonna finish filming that, but for right now, it's not gonna affect anything. One of the things that they called for, I'll show you here in a second after I get the backs put on place here. One of the things that it called for was to get some modeling putty and take care of the filling in the backs here on the one exposed part. I might, but I think it's fine. And specifically, what they're talking about is right back here. And now that I look at it, I might actually, now that I think about it. So, yeah, there we are. We have the seats built. And with that, stage 8 is complete, and I gotta say, it's pretty cool. Like, the weathering on the floor, the painting, all of that work. Obviously, this section leaves much to be desired, but we're learning. And, I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about that. This is pretty cool. It looks really good. I might want to try to find some small little things that we could put in there, like the training droid, the little ball thing that Luke, dart your blocks with his lightsaber and such. So, yeah, I thought this turned out pretty good. So, this was a heavy one, my friends. I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. There'll probably be a lot of editing tonight. Didn't give myself much time, but here we are. But with all that said, I do appreciate your time so much for watching today. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world, wherever you happen to might be. And until we see each other again, the Force will be with you always.